Welcome to PodGis. Hi, everyone. Welcome to PodGis, episode 120. No. I'm your host, Val, and welcome to the Pod Zone. We've got all kinds of sexy jokes for you, including one about a spanking gone wrong. Doesn't that sound fun? Tune in. I don't know what the fuck. Hey, I've resolved to not swear so much, and I already broke that immediately. But anyways, starting off weird, but did you expect anything else? Hi everyone. Look, welcome to PodGis, episode 120 something. We all know, if you're a listener of the pod, you know we don't count episodes until we've begun. And also, sometimes we forget to move our laundry rack, our hanging drying laundry. We forget to move it beyond the frame. And will I get up momentarily to move it? No, I think it's just fine where it is. And, this will add an element of suspense. You and I, we can watch. You're joining me. Okay, listen. If this episode isn't entertaining enough, you can literally roast me by saying it's like watching pants dry. Or you could do it ironically, where we're memeing now. We're memeing. Meme along with me, folks. Meme along. What if we made it an inside joke with me and the podsters out there? With me and the podgises. Oh, I should come up with a name for you guys. For the audience gis. For fan gis. For fans gis. Inside joke between me and fans gis, where people are like, hey, you call yourself a fans gis? What's that? And you go, it means I'm a fan of PodGis with Val. And they go, oh, well, what's that podcast about? And you're like, it's like watching pants dry. and then you give a knowing smile, maybe a wink, ding. And then you walk backwards away from them while still facing them with a big shit-eating grin on your face. And let me tell you, that will be an exchange they will not soon forget. So there you go. We're creating memes. Me and you. Together. I feel like these levels. Am I worried about the levels? Maybe. Maybe just a little bit. There we go. Hi. Welcome. Hi, everyone. Welcome to PodGis. Look at me. Working on my sexy voice. Look at me. Working on my sexy voice. Did you like that intro when I looked all around, all confused? That was fun, wasn't it? Didn't it kind of make you a little confused? I get confused sometimes, and it's okay to be confused. Because that's okay. You don't have to know everything all the time. Okay, anyways, what's new with me? Oh, let's kick it off. Before I forget, I have big news, but let's kick it off. Oh, I have a few big newses, but let's kick it off. Let's kick it off already, Algus. Stop saying we're going to kick it off and just kick it off. We are going to commence with, would you believe I created a segment last week and I never prolong segments. I never really carry a segment to term. But, ever since Clanker of the Week, I haven't had a segment in this podcast. What kind of podcast is without a gimmick, first of all? I mean, I'm the gimmick. That's it. That's all you get. You get me, and then that's it. What kind of podcast is sans gimmick and sans segments? Segment sans. That's me. And love it or hate it, I mean, it doesn't It's not very conducive to growing an audience. I'll admit that. It's been about the same for 50 or so. I didn't need to tell you that, but I'm the realest one there ever was. And if you've been listening long enough, then you can confirm that I have always been the realest one who ever was since the spawn of Gis. Since Spawn Gis. Okay, anyways. Big announce. Oh, no, CharacterGis. That's what I was talking about before the big announcements. Here are a few CharacterGis ideas. Real quick off the top. Not of my head. I had to think of some. Well, I did think. I wrote it down again because I thought it was super funny and I just wanted to do it again. Where basically it's a girl trying to be sexy, but she doesn't know how to be, but she doesn't know what words to use. And all she can think of is pants. So she's like, hey, big boy. Hi, big boy. Oh my God. Look at you. You're so big. And what size pants are you? Wow. A 38. Wow. That's huge. Your pants must be so big. Take off your pants. I might fit in one of the legs of your pants. Ooh. Put your pant leg over my face. Oh, wrap those pant legs around my neck. Let's get kinky. I want to see the crotch of your pants. Okay. Well, that's done. That was fun. I did it before and now I did it again. And now, you get the bit. Here at PodGis, we pride ourselves on how high our brow tends to be. Next character. This is more of a premise and not so much a character. There won't be much of an act out, but I thought of this. Okay, picture a musician, a magician, not a musician, a magician who keeps pulling knives out of a top hat, like that's his trick, but he keeps pulling the knives on the wrong end. But he commits so hard to the bit that he basically keeps slicing his hands, but he can't not do the bit. He has to stay in character and be like, and then he hoists the knife aloft, the wrong way, of course, as his wound drips down his arm. That's a little graphic, maybe a little bit. Let's not focus on the bodily fluids, but let's focus more on the premise of this magician, sometimes hired for corporates, sometimes hired at children's parties, without the people knowing that that's his trick. And so half the time the audience thinks this is part of one of the effects, and they're like, that's a bit off-putting. That's a bit, don't care for that part much. Does he really have to commit to that? Didn't like that much. And then half the audience is like, ew. Anyways, ta-da. And then he just brings bandages to so he's sitting off to the side, and they bring him a check, and they're like, that was interesting. And he goes, thanks. And they go, here's the check. And he goes, yeah, because he's bandaging his hands. He's like, yeah, can you just put it in the bag? Just stuff it in the bag. Or no, he's like, put it in the top hat. Oh, and then they put it in the top hat, and he's like, oh, and then he has to go fishing for the check in the top hat full of knives. There we go. Somebody write that sketch. What's next? What's next, you ask? Well, Oh, how about this? Another premise coming at you. We'll see if I can keep developing it off the top of my head. um, Guy who's born with upside down hands, but he can still give the middle finger, right? Because the middle finger is still in the middle. Even if you were born, check it out. Look, even if you were born with your hands upside down, so like your pinky atop your wrist, and then your thumb neath the bottom, you could still do the middle finger, don't you know? So I thought of that. I'm a modern philosopher. Anyways, so he can still do the middle finger, and he gives the most satisfying handshakes you have ever seen in your life. So, you've ever had, because, like, just imagine, right hand on right hand, right? Imagine right hand on right hand. I'm trying to, like, this is left. This would be left too. Yes. Okay. So clasp your hands like so. Clasp them so one is right side up and one is upside down. And tell me, if somebody went in for a handshake and you did that, would that not be the most complete? It would feel like such a complete handshake. It would feel like yin and yang. It would feel like you just put the last piece of a jigsaw together. A jigsaw of business, perhaps, if you're shaking hands on that. So, you know, don't you think? Don't you think that would be the most satisfying handshake? Don't you think? And also, he could give him, and he's not, and this is part of it, is he does an interview for 60 minutes or whatever, and he's insistent. He goes, the interviewer is like, so does your handicap, and he cuts him off right there, and he's like, hey, listen, what I have is not a handicap. I can give the middle finger just as good as anyone else. And it's true, he can. He can clasp. I mean, video games would be odd. I guess he would have to hold the controller. How would he have to hold the controller? Let's imagine this. Oh, do I have the controller around here? No, it's in another room. Okay, sorry to turn this podcast into a stream because there's dead air, but here I go. I'm going to grab that controller and we're going to figure this out. I'm sorry for listening to this. I will describe it as best I can. You just sit there. You just sit tight. I'll BRP. Give me 1 second. Here I go. I'll be back 1 sec. Okay, I'm back. Maybe I'll even edit that for the audio. So if there was no delay and you're listening, congratulations. That is the compromise I make to you. You're going to miss out on this physical, visual bit, but you didn't have to sit there and wait to hear anything from me. Okay, so here I go, demonstrating. You would have to hold a controller just upside down facing you, like this. Like this. Okay, it's hard to see, but you know, imagine you're playing, you know, right side up, like so. Now, if your thumbs were upside down, all you would have to do to demonstrate for yourself, just to see, is you would have to crisscross your hands, like so, one hand over the other, and just point your thumbs down. And if you simulate in your mind's eye, that what this one's on the left, this one's on the right, and then you hold your control. All you have to do is just basically hold it upside down but facing you. And was it worth it? I don't know. I really don't think so, but I'm not going to think about that too much, and we're just going to move on. Although if you wanted to do a right side up handshake with a guy who was born with his thumbs on the bottom side with his hands upside down, you would have to both lay on the ground You would have to both lay on your sides facing each other on the ground and do... Oh yeah, you'd have to do it 69 style. So, I mean, yeah, I guess, I mean, you'd have to be a little bit staggered so that your head is not on their toes and same. Because that's a low handshake. So you'd have to be like belly button to belly button. You'd have to be belly button to belly button. Face to crotch, I guess. And then you could reach out and then do a proper handshake. And then that would feel like a proper handshake. Can you imagine going through all that effort just to close a business deal? Okay, the character develops. So this guy who was born with his hands upside down, you see, he's a CEO. So that's part of the 60 minutes is they're like, you never let your handicap slow you down. And now you're the business owner. You're the new owner of Microsoft. Bill Gates himself anointed you the next big brain of the world. And the guy's like, yep, it's not a handicap. I can still give the middle finger. And the interviewer goes, ha ha ha. Because he's a rebel. Because he is outside of the box thinker. He's a maverick, this guy. And he's such a maverick, but he's also of the old school. And he insists on shaking hands the right side up way, despite his handicap, because he's so determined not to validate it as a handicap that every time he closes a business deal, the CEO of Microsoft, they have to lay on their side. He and the person that he's shaking hands with have to lay on their sides, face to belly button, and then and reach over and shake each other's hands. He insists on that practice. Never has a business deal ever gone without that handshake technique. And sometimes he has business meetings in a big boardroom with a lot of people. And so they all have to take turns lying down across from him and shaking his weird hand. Okay, anyways, that's enough of that. Wow! CharacterGis, that took way too long. That took way too long. I feel like I'm talking like fucking Matt Berry. That took way too long. I'll work on that impression, but that wasn't bad. That was a good start. I say. No, lost it. Anyways, those are my character guesses for this week. Check it out. Big announcements time. Time for a big announcement. Here's my first big announcement. Look at these nails. I went in to get my nails painted today, and unfortunately the worker knew very little English, and so I could not understand. I could barely understand anything she said, but we were still trying. We're still trying together. And we were trying, and I was trying, but I don't know a lot about nails. I really don't. And I wanted to get these nails done for my taping at Winnipeg for television this week, and then 2 tapings in Halifax the next week. Crazy. Ava is on fire. Anyways, and I wanted to have like rose gold nails, but she kept confusing me with talks about gels and shellacs. And I don't know the difference, frankly. And she tried explaining it, but it just wasn't translating. None of it was making sense to me. I had so many questions that and it was too much. And in the end, I don't know how this happened, but she gave me a different color for my fingers than she did my toes. So my toes are rose gold and my fingers are gold. Anyways, that wasn't the announcement. Ha, I hoodwinked you. Oh boy, are those jeans dry yet? Sure feels like they're getting there. Okay, anyways. Here's the thing. Real quick, just finishing that point. I feel a certain white guilt in those situations where I'm like, we are getting a little frustrated here. But God damn it, I'm here for you, and I don't want to be racist, God forbid, but this is really tough to navigate with you. I don't know what's happening, and I'm about to pay a lot of money for something that I don't know what I'm getting. So the white guilt in me was like, how bad should I feel about what has just transpired? How resentful am I allowed to feel? You know what I mean? And baby, I choose to let it go. I'm just gonna let it go. Rose gold versus gold is not much of a difference. And this is so easily the dumbest first world problem I've ever encountered in quite some time. And I can't think of anything more of a first world problem than the one I experienced today. So good on the lady. Thank you for the nails. I wasn't prepared to pay that much for them, but I appreciate it. On the bright side, my thumbs are always so gross and lumpy. The nail beds are like, it just looks like I was savagely beaten with a hammer on both thumbs. But this is the first time they've ever been smooth that I can remember. She put some gel shit on there that they're smooth. And oh, what a wonderful treat it is to have smooth nails. I want somebody to touch them. They're so nice, but they're gold. Ew, they're gold. I wanted rose gold. I feel like a child in Willy Wonka's factory. I wanted a swan. Father, I want that chocolate. That's what I am right now. I didn't want hazelnut chocolate. I wanted almond chocolate. You know, that's what I'm doing right now. Anyways, sorry, announcement time. Here I go. Ladies, gentlemen, non-binary pals, and everyone else. Sorry to else you. Sorry to lump you in else. But you can check me, tell me what I need to say there. Anyways, I was trying to be inclusive. Anyways. Folks. My special So Brave is finally coming out on my special So Brave is coming out on June 30th. Sunday, June 30th, correct? Correct. Sunday, June 30th, my special is coming out on YouTube. It'll be free to watch for everyone. It won't be on my channel. It'll be on 800 Pound Gorilla's channel, the people who I collaborated with and produced this with. I'm very proud of it. And I know you know there's a but coming here. There's always a but coming. I mean, not always. Some people just aren't good lovers. Haha, get it? Sometimes my butt doesn't come. Oh, that's why. Oh, that was so unnecessary. I just felt that bubbling self-loathing after that line. Anyways. Oh yeah, there's a but. So, I'm very fond of it. I'm very proud of it. But as it so often goes, as is inevitable in comedy, as it is especially with me, is a lot of those bits are even better now than they were when I taped them. And there's a part of me that wishes I perhaps gave it a little bit more time, but there's a part of me that understands that the editing process, the post process, I was getting antsy and I'd been waiting long enough. So I hope you guys like it. I hope it's good. I hope my journey will be getting over showing people the special and not needing to yell constantly over top of it. Oh my God, that joke is so much better now. I wish you could see it. Over and over and over again. And truly, I think once you do a special, that is why it is in your best interest to retire the joke and move on, because now you've immortalized it. You've put it out there. You've crystallized it, especially in a narrative. If that's how you arrange your set list, which is what I did. Ding. I will speak more at length when it comes out. We'll maybe do a viewing party or some shit. I don't know. June 30th. No, most notably the day after my birthday. June 29th, don't you know, did you know, is my birthday. And so how appropriate that this special of mine, my first ever in the 17 and a half years I've been doing this, coming out the day after my birthday. So very special, very nice, very awesome. It's also coming out on Pride weekend. So that's a double whammy. And also, is that Canada Day weekend? No, Canada Day weekend is the next weekend. No, Canada Day is the next day. Canada Day always falls, almost always crosses over with Pride weekend. Almost always. Does it, or am I imagining that? Anyways, it's wow. What? How momentous of a day. June 30th, the day after my birthday. A, B. No, I want to number these. Number 1, the day after my birthday. Number 2, Pride weekend, the day of the Pride parade, at least in Toronto. What? Pride everywhere, pretty much. Pride most places. Anyways, I don't know. And then also, number 3, the day before Canada Day. So, like, you get, not to just purely categorize myself. Look, you got a little bit of everything. So categorically, you got all the categories I belong to, such as LGBT, Canadian. that's a particular brand of comedy. And then you got the X factor, the individual factor, the me factor. The day after my birthday. So June 30th, special day, and it's also special day, the day that the special comes out. So mark your calendars. Please watch it. Please comment. Whether positive or negative, I guess. I don't know. It's engagement. I'm steeling myself mentally. I'm already hypothesizing, fantasizing about the amount of hate and vitriol I will get just from people who won't watch further than 10 seconds before they, have something putrid to say about me. So, there will be comedy critics. There will be people who pose as comedy critics to hide their transphobia. There will be fans buried, I'm sure, somewhere among all the discourse and argumentation between people who support the trans community and people who want us dead. So, maybe I'm just going to stay away from the comments altogether, or maybe I'm going to recruit a friend to read through and curate for me, read to me the more positive things, because I think it really truly is unhealthy for any human being to absorb that much hatred. I think it doesn't make me any weaker of a person to acknowledge that. I don't have to submit myself to the hatred, to the mass hatred of a bunch of people who don't even really give any consideration to my talent or what I have to say. Anyways. So, yeah. I'm gonna, so my point is, comment, please, if you like it. Comment, but also message me and let me know. It would be nice to combat what I am anticipating will be a mountainous avalanche of hatred. And arguing in the comment section, fighting in the comment section, I don't see any individual mental benefit to that. It won't serve you. I know some of you will want to defend me. I'm saying all this so soon. I'm sure some of you will want to defend me. And if you have a capacity to keep going on and on and on with this kind of stuff, then good on ya. But I also, there's a part of me that wonders, it just toxifies the comment section even if you are doing something nice, it's like everybody's reading just two people fighting each other, and it's just bad vibes. It's just not good vibes. And so, if you feel compelled to stand up for me, that's cool, but don't overdo it, because you deserve to do better things with your time, and I might not even be reading it. But a friend of mine might, so I don't know, maybe. Whatever. We'll see. I got sidetracked, which is, of course, God, just so me. A friend diagnosed me with ADHD recently. So I've got that going for me now. I've been officially diagnosed by a friend. I've been pseudo-diagnosed. Okay, so that's announcement number 1. Announcement number 2 is I had my first appointment today, which as of the broadcasting of this episode is 2 days ago on April 29th. So future you is seeing past me. I won't do the bit. I must resist doing the bit. I'm going to take a sip of water. I'm going to reset for a hot second. God, Ava, you need to breathe maybe a little bit more, I think. I'm so... Retention, you know? Are you not retained? We should do a modern Gladiator where he kills a bunch of people in the pit and then looks up and the crowd they're all on their phones. None of them are watching him. And he goes, "Are you not retained?" That's pretty good. That's kind of clever. Okay, anyways. Announcement number 2. I had my first appointment with my new endocrinologist because my other one, I strongly felt, wasn't taking any of my concerns seriously, wasn't engaging with my questions. He would just roll his eyes. And I'm not asking stupid questions. I'm not asking things out of left field. They would be naturally concerned. They would be typical concerns for somebody going on gender affirming hormone replacement therapy. So, I just got tired of the attitude. This is all probably too private. I shouldn't be sharing this, but I got a new one and I didn't tell him any of that. But why? So why am I telling all of you? I didn't want to be seen as a difficult patient. And I wonder sometimes if doctors pass notes to each other, if that goes on record, if they're like, this patient is a nightmare to communicate with. This patient is demanding and belligerent. But I'm not demanding and belligerent. I just ask a lot of questions. And I don't deserve to have your eyes rolled at me every time I ask something legit. I think it's perfectly reasonable to worry that my pee-pee won't work no more. Just kidding. That was... Not going to comment on any more jokes. Just going to do the jokes. How about just do the jokes? Okay. Big announcement number 2. This has taken quite some time, hasn't it? Gotta make my hair right for this big announcement. Now I'm kind of just enjoying bothering you guys if this is just annoying you. Anyways, long story short, finally, I had an appointment with my new doctor and he approved me. He got the ball rolling on gender affirming breast enhancement surgery. So here in Ontario, Canada, in my province of Ontario, in my country of Canada, there is fortunately a stipulation in our health insurance coverage that trans women who have been on hormones a certain amount of time and have had negligible growth, they qualify for gender affirming surgery covered by our government provincial insurance plan. So I'm going to get free tits. I'm getting free boobage. I'm getting free It's free. Na na na. Free boobage. Na 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 na. Getting free. Ma ma ma. Free boobage. I'm getting 2 free boobs. 2 for the price of none. Buy one, get one. Also, buy one, get one for minus the price of the first one. Therefore, the total is free. 2 guys standing outside some kind of store like, hey, Jerry, I think you could have used less words to convey that message. Because he wrote all that on a sign. Just to say free stuff. Anyways. What? I said it was free. So I qualify. And I was kind of workshopping this bit for a while on stage. But I wasn't really quite finding the end. And who knows? I mean, I posted a video where I just basically riffed the bit that I was doing on stage, and I added a bunch of new stuff in based on this meeting of the minds, this meeting with me and my doctor, and so the good thing is, okay, with my previous doctor, I inquired on the boobage thing, and he kind of chuckled under his breath condescendingly and was like, very few people qualify for this. It doesn't happen. And I was like, yeah, but I've read that if you have like no growth, I was probably, it was because I was too, even just a little bit generous with my words. And I was wearing a push-up bra. Big mistake. You gotta bear all just to show. So anyways, I was like, I heard that if you have like negligible growth, wow, say that 10 times fast, then you might qualify for this. And he said, have you had any growth at all? And I couldn't lie. I mean, they puffed out just a tiny bit. They don't look the same than they did before. They're like, I got puffy marshmallow cones. Little teeny tiny puffy marshmallow cones. Not to describe my breasts in graphic detail, but I'm sure you guys are enraptured attention. But anyways, he was like, so he caught me on a technicality. He was like, if you've had any growth at all, then you don't qualify. And that isn't even the fucking case. That's not even true. And, well, or maybe it is. But anyways, I used the word negligible. And I think that was a very good word, because I used it with this guy, and, you know, as he should, he stared at my chest a little bit, and I kind of, you know, instead of puffing out my chest, I kind of made my shoulders a little bit more hunched and concave, just to sink my chest in a little bit more. But I was sincerely wearing an appropriately sized bra, which was basically like a fucking doily, like a teacup. I basically just put 2 teacups in my shirt. And, yeah, he took one look and was like, I think you make a great candidate. And I don't know if you've ever been medically roasted before. What a subtle roast. You know, I know he didn't mean it like a roast, but me being the comedian was like, oof. But also, you know, it is what it is. So I think it's very funny. That could be a good roast. Instead of calling someone flat, you're like, you could qualify for government-funded breast enhancement. Oh! You could qualify for government-funded gender-affirming breast enhancement, bitch. You flat bitch. And everyone goes, oh! Your mama's so flat, the government can pay for her titties. Oh! I guess you could also say your daddy's so flat if they're like about to transition. But that would be misgendering. So anyways, without delving into too many personal details, even though I've said far too much, let's all celebrate in a wholesome way, of course. I implore you to be wholesome about your response to this news. congratulations are welcome. Please don't be like some people who have chosen to just send me graphic pictures of women with like double Q size tits. I don't know. Like there isn't a letter invented for how big these doubles whatevers are. Just like some of them AI generated of like don't get pornographic. That's all I ask. Don't be weird. Don't make it weird. Even though I'm talking about a weird thing about my body, I'm not going to victim blame myself. I've given you a choice. You can respond with wholesome congratulations or lovely comments, or you can be weird about it and send me pictures of fucking great big bazongas. And just know that I don't like that. I don't like what you're doing. I don't find it charming. If we were a pair of Sims in Sims 3 or whatever have you, then if you don't make this negative relationship, don't add negative relationship points. All I'm saying is I measure all of my relationships in points that you can either earn or subtract in individual situations. And so don't lose points with me. Don't go negative. Don't be weird, because you're going to lose relationship points. Okay? Anyways. So I'm excited, but I'll tell you this. I'm also extremely nervous because if you can recall, a few episodes ago, I spoke about how pragmatically I was approaching my transition, and like this is part of it. Even though I forget what episode it was. I'm sorry. You would have to listen back a few. Maybe it was the hockey bag one. It was the hockey bag one, but I don't know what it's called. Or is it called hockey bag thing? Or videos. Let's track it down, just so you know what I'm talking about here. Radicalized. Are you a drag queen? Maybe I can see the hockey bag in the back. Glug glug, bitch. I don't know. Yeah, sorry, I don't know. I don't know which one. But where was I? Where was I just now? Oh, so in that episode, I basically describe how pragmatically and carefully I've been taking these phases of my transition one step at a time, and like making damn sure that I'm ready for the next thing, and really like confronting myself every single step of the way. You know, the idea that the far right is perpetuating, that people like me just go impulsively cut our dicks off with garden shears, is incredibly false, especially in my case. Every next level of this transition has been very carefully considered and reflected upon. So this gives me a new thing because it's now becoming real, this breast enhancement. So now I have a choice. I have to choose which surgeon I want to go with, which is a daunting task. So any ladies out there who have had work done in the Toronto area, or maybe even abroad, fuck it, hit me up some abroad ones. Let's see. I might. Well, if it's government, it's got to be in Ontario. That makes sense. It's not like they're going to send me to Dubai to get like high-tech AI titties that have Google Glass in the nipples or something. Wow, that would be cool. I would get like Austin Powers type tits with a cool little laser gun that pops out. Or I guess it was a machine gun. That's not as cool, but I guess you could store the bullets in your boobage. Anyways, where the heck even was I? Again. Oh, think. Bop, bop, bop. Oh yeah. And also I have to pick which surgeon, but also I have to pick what size. And like maybe the surgeons will be able to like I'm sure the surgeons will be able to, I don't know, like visually generate what it might look like on my body, or might give me like they might give me the little silicone, depending what kinds to put on my tits. And also I know there's different techniques. There's under the muscle or over the muscle and through the nipple and under and all kinds of stuff that I don't even know. And I got to do all that research, and people are going to give me all kinds of different opinions, especially anecdotally. People are going to be like, don't do this version. I heard lots of scary things about this. And other people are going to be like, I did that version and I'm happy as a clam. And you know, it's just the noise, the level of noise, and just how indecisive I am. If you know me, you know I am the most indecisive person in the world. So the anxiety of the choice alone in this decision that lays before me is anxiety inducing. And also, of course, the irreversibility of getting a pair of breasts implanted in my body. Daunting, intimidating. But on that whole pragmatic note, like I said in that episode, I'm gonna start slouching. I'm starting to get tired. Even in that episode, I said I was proven right every single time. I'm glad I was very pragmatic, but I was only ever right every single time. And everything I did felt justified. Oh, also I'm switching to needles for estrogen. And that's scary too. Poking myself with needles. I've been poked by needles 1,000,000 times. But to do it to myself is a new endeavor, and I'm just nervous. I'm nervous. Anyways. I've said anyways a lot, and we've bounced from topic to topic, and my stomach is grumbling so loud, I'm worried you guys can hear it. But we won't stop. Still got 10 minutes. I'm going to talk about a few more things. No, I don't want to talk about that. Oh, should I talk about this shit? Feels familiar. Stop me if I've said this before. Haha. But, oh, this is like, okay, I'll end on that one. Okay, alright, good. This is old news now. Happened 2 weeks ago. But, there was a video that went viral of, it was CCTV footage outside on some university campus or something like that, I think. And there was a young lady walking, and she was confronted, she was mugged, she was robbed at gunpoint by a gentleman. I shouldn't call him that. By a thug, by a no-gooder, dude, by a no-good beatnik, by a total chode. She was robbed by the chaff of society. And her, being the wheat of society, she pulled such a wheat move. It was so wheat. The guy pointed the gun in her face, and the footage is blurry, but you can kind of see this sort of fracas between the two of them. And then, according to the description, she somehow wrestled the gun out of his hands, emptied the magazine, pulled out the clip or something, or maybe while they were wrestling, she somehow sleight of hand nabbed the clip magazine, I don't know, guns. She took the ammunition or whatever and threw it into a bush. The case full of the bullets. Okay, I'm just gonna I'm Canadian. I don't know anything about guns. And rightfully so. Guns fucking suck. If you're obsessed with guns, I think you're a weirdo. I just think you're a weirdo. Sorry. I think that's weird. Sorry, not sorry. If you really love guns, you're off-putting to me. You're a little bit weird. You shouldn't love tools of destruction that much. That's just feels I don't trust you. Imagine going to somebody's house and they have a fucking collection of sledgehammers. You know? And machetes. You're like, yeah, all right. I get that you use them responsibly, but yikes. Anyways, she wrestled the thing and threw it into a bush. And but the thing, and not only that, okay, so that was crazy. And then she runs away or something, and he's kind of left standing there, waving his gun around. I think he still got her phone or something, but he was disarmed, and she threw it into a bush, and you can see him like visibly kind of confused and looking around, and then he like runs away. But in the video, okay, this is the point I want to make. In the video, there was a gentleman, a third party, sitting on the grass nearby, and he just observed the entire thing happen. He just watched the whole thing happen, and he just sat there and didn't do anything until she started running away. Then, from what I recall, he kind of came to and realized what was happening. I guess he was just so stunned that he like picked himself up and then ran. He ran too. He fled. And now the comments underneath, of course, were just a deluge. Am I pronouncing that word right? I always call it a deluge. No, Algus, don't get distracted. We're going to just pronounce it how we pronounce it. Just the comments were this cacophony of hatred towards this boy. I'm going to call him a boy because I assume he was like a university student. This young man, I guess. And the amount of people who fancy themselves a fucking superhero. Well, I mean, the girl in the video, holy shit, that is super heroic. Yes, indeed. But the amount of people who falsely, in my deep, knowledgeable opinion, I have the theory to back it up. The amount of people who believe that they would fucking run off to a phone booth and change into their Superman costume and come flying back at the speed of light and wrestle the gunman to the ground and hog tie him with fucking reed leaves that you found around the ground and you know, dip the woman at the end and give her a deep smooch. The amount of people who think that they would be the hero in this situation is absurd to me. It's so silly how many people are clueless about what goes on when, first of all, you have a fight or flight response, which is, or freeze. Freeze tends to be a third thing that people don't realize. And like, you know, the amount of people who are like men these days, and that guy calls himself a man, is like, and people were like, I only see one man, and that was the girl, because she manned up. And first of all, obnoxious, outdated gender norms aside, because, listen, men, in my fucking experience, aren't as brave as women. It takes way more bravery to be part of a marginalized group that is disproportionately in a dangerous position because of the other person. It doesn't take bravery to be the bigger unit that is capable of greater violence. That is cowardice. That is the opposite of bravery. The amount of men who are too cowardly to fucking take me out on a goddamn date. I'm not going to bring this shit up because some of you are going to be like, well, why don't you date me then? That's not how this works. Hear me out. The amount of people who are too afraid, fuck me. Let's move away from me here. The amount of men who are incapable of admitting openly, and not just online. You can fucking hide behind an avatar. We all can. The amount of men out there who love trans women. They love them. Trans porn is like the fourth fucking most searched, most liked category of pornography. You can't tell me that you guys aren't out there jorking your morkin to people like me. So, not even me. Other hotter girls, of course. But my point is, you're all cowards. It takes bravery to fucking transition and to be visibly trans. And like, All you have to do is associate with us, and you can't even do that? You're a coward. Anyways, man up. Men aren't brave. Men aren't the braver of the two. Women are way braver than men because they have to conquer way more shit to get to where men already are by default. So go fuck yourself. All right, rant over there. Sorry, I had to go off. I had to go off on bravery. That's why this incident with this gunman and shit, it bothers me so much because not only were people invoking like the gender norm bullshit where it's like, yeah, it's a man's job. Men are the brave ones. I mean, men can be the protectors. Yes, absolutely. You're big. That's sure. If you're bigger, I have just contradicted everything that I just said. I mean, it takes bravery to be the protector. Yes, absolutely. But it doesn't take bravery to assault a woman. Anyways, maybe I'm just splitting hairs here and using very specific examples to prove my point. I might be biased, but also in my experience. Anyways, I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to move along. I think it takes way more whenever I hear man up, it just makes me so mad because it takes way more bravery to be somebody like me than it takes for somebody to associate with me. Just associate. And so many people are incapable of that. Meet me on my fucking level. Anyways, the part that made me angrier, if you can believe it, is there were so many comments about, like, I don't think people understand psychology. And maybe I'm sitting from a privileged position because, don't you know, here's a little bit of Al-Val trivia. I went to university for psychology. I have a major in psych. I have a major undergrad in psych. Isn't that cool? Specifically, social psych. And, well, yeah, it's not complicated. I was about to say it is, but I think it's just a degree in psych. I have what did I do with that diploma? Is it in storage? I just realized. I have no idea where my diploma is. Huh. Alright, well, anyways, okay, so let's not stray too far from the Lord's path here. Avicus. Think. So, back on track. I'm getting so hot. Where was I even? Oh, psychology. The amount of people who think that that first of all, there is a modern shortage of bravery are up their own ass. Because what happens in those situations is a common human phenomenon. It's been in our programming for as long as any of us can remember. It is part of our DNA, of our the way we're socialized. It's part of our adrenal system to respond to threats in different ways. And for the amount of people who think that they would assess this situation, that they would have the mental clarity in a spontaneous emergency like that, it's just people really don't understand. It is so easy to sit at your keyboard and watch a video and go, oh, this is what I would do. I would have a fully formed plan. I would bust out all my jujitsu moves that from the YouTube videos that I watched. I would recall all of them, just like Neo from The Matrix, having the thing plugged into his head. And I've downloaded so much kung fu into my brain from watching YouTube videos that I would be like, sick, I finally get to enact my nunchaku technique that I've been watching. And I would take out my nunchucks out of my backpack, which of course I would always have my nunchucks on me because, you know, you never know when you might need those nunchucks. And I would do a swing chow technique to disarm and so on and so forth. So many people think that they would have this composed reaction to an emergency involving a deadly fucking weapon. And that is not the case. You cannot predict how you would respond in situations like these. You can have an idea that makes you feel real nice and warm and fuzzy about the kind of person you are, but when you're confronted with those situations, you will be surprised, as I'm sure that boy was, and has to confront his own self-opinion about his own heroism. So I want you all to take a second and think about the fucking Captain America you think you are, and maybe walk it back a couple, okay? Steve Rogers, you're not Steve Rogers. You're not Captain America. You're pre-Captain America Steve Rogers. All of us are. We all like to think ourselves knights in shining armor, but when the rubber meets the fucking road, sometimes you aren't who you think you are, especially in like life or death situations like those. Although the girl, not to completely, there would be exceptions. Some of you, technically, statistically, are right about yourselves. Okay, that's fine. But I'm going to say, do not pass judgment on people who respond a certain way in an emergency. And please don't infer that this has anything to do with generational bullshit. People just love to rip on younger generations and be like, things were better back then. You're all just, your judgment is so clouded by your nostalgia constantly. And even in common human phenomena like that. So listen, the bystander effect, every once in a while something like that happens where like a big group of people are around and something bad happens to somebody, and you'll get all these comments that are like, what has the world come to? People are so selfish and nobody intervened. Bitch, look up Kitty Genovese. Kittygenovese. Kitty Genovese. St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. It was a case in the 70s, I think, of a woman who had terrible things happen to her. I'm not going to get into it, but that was what inspired all this research and theorizing on the bystander effect. That is where the bystander effect came from. It basically dictates that the more people are around in the case of an emergency, the less likely any individual person is to intervene, because everybody just kind of has this like, everyone takes their cues socially from other people, number one. And number two, everyone's kind of just like, I figure someone else has this under control. Someone else will intervene. Someone else will do it. And you don't like to believe that about yourself, but you have that in you too, okay? Some of you are the exception, but don't get carried away thinking that you're a fucking Captain America, all right? And I don't mean to be cynical. I don't. Because I think maybe it's good that you believe that you're a hero. You know what? I shouldn't take that away from you. If something bad happens, I want you to believe that you're Captain America. I want you to believe so hard that you do act upon it. So maybe I should pull all of that back and validate your fantasies, your heroic fantasies about yourself. But where I draw the line is when you judge other people for how they react. It is no one's responsibility to risk their own life and limb spontaneously at the drop of a hat, especially when you have all the benefits of hindsight and sitting safely at your fucking computer watching these videos. When was that part supposed to be funny? Oh, man. I could have shortened that, but I went on ranting about a lot of different things. I always regret talking about my dating life on this podcast because someone always comes along and makes it weird. But also, you know, if you're into trans women and you're out there and you're trying, then I appreciate you. I do. Doesn't mean that you and I are perfect for each other individually. This isn't me subtly calling your name. Let's not read too much into the signs here. But if you are in the closet, I don't want to say I think less of you. Everyone's got their own journey, and I was there. I was there for such a long time. I understand the shame. So I empathize. I do. But if you are the type to openly make life more miserable for trans people, And if you hurt trans people as a result of your own shame, if you project that, if you weaponize it, then I don't have respect for you. I don't. I understand what it is like to struggle with that. And I think projecting it is just, you're making the world a worse place. And maybe if you tried a little harder. I'm not gonna, I kind of spoiled that whole thing for myself. Let's pivot into something more fun. Anyways, just don't judge people, even though that's what I just did. But I tried not to. I empathize, like I said, I empathize with the shame. I lived my life with so much shame for so long, and I still do. I still carry that shame with me. It's why I can't practice. It's why I can't practice vocally as well as I would like, and as often as I would like. And there's still a lot of mental blocks in my head. So many. But you only live once, and if you're gonna go out there and take your own psychological hangups and make life worse for other people, then yeah, that is a choice. And I don't respect you for that. Fuck it. I'm gonna stand for something here. Treat trans people with a lot more respect, god damn it. We're fucking people too. Jesus Christ. Woo! Oh, speaking of, I started watching Baby Reindeer. If you haven't seen this show, holy Moses, get on it. It's I'm only on episode 3. I won't give too much away, but it is a story about a comedian who a struggling comedian, an amateur comedian, who meets a lady and he kind of and I'll give you the quick synopsis. He meets a lady who is a stalker. She stalks him. That's not giving anything away. That's the plot. He has a stalker. This is a comedian, and shit goes too far. And having a stalker would be so scary, and I'm so scared of that someday. But I'll tell you this. The main character is an amateur comedian, and where I relate to him is oftentimes I have indulged someone's flirtations for maybe a bit too long, or whether it is by some impulse in me that needs to be validated. There's an element of pity in there where I don't want the person to feel alone or rejected, and I want to be able to somehow protect and foster. And there's a sense of control. I want to maybe there's a part of me that believes I can still socially control the boundaries between letting them have their flirtatious fun and protecting my own space and validating their charms and also validating my own. What am I trying to say? I relate to the uglier side of this main character who definitely perpetuated this stalking situation for too long because of this deep, unfortunate need for validation and perhaps company, but validation for sure. And as a comedian, when you're just on with somebody, when you're crushing it and they're laughing at all your jokes and they find you so charming and endearing and they are enamored with you, it is a drug. It can be a drug, and it can get you addicted to just vampirically even perhaps drawing that adulation out of this person over and over again and kind of playing them like a fiddle, I guess. Yeah, that would be the ugly side of it. And that is something that I am actively working on for myself. But also, I don't want to be rude to people. And if they're being nice to me, I'll be nice to them back. And a lot of the times, maybe I'll pity somebody's loner impulse. That was part of this show, is he recognized that there was something sort of pitiful about the way she composed herself. And so anyways, I relate to the main characters out of a combination of pity for the other person and this very unhealthy need to be validated. I relate to the main character. But also there's a trans girl in there with the most beautiful voice. She has such a good voice. God damn it. She has such a nice voice. Not like old fucking Itchy and Scratchy over here. She has such a beautiful voice. And it is just so... I try not to get jealous when I watch. Hey, maybe if I breathe through it, maybe I might sound a little bit more like her. But it sounds bassy. I try not to get jealous of trans girls in media. Beautiful, gorgeous, beautiful sounding trans girls. Especially because, as a comedian, I really play the role of the clumsy, oafish troll. And, you know, I want to be a cutie pie too. And I do my best to be a cutie pie. But I also have no qualms about playing the fool and embarrassing myself. I am so familiar with making an ass of myself that pretty secondhand to me now. It happens more accidentally than I like to admit, just because I'm so used to it. I've kind of overcorrected, and now I make an ass of myself so naturally that it's sometimes out of my control. But yeah, and I try not to compare myself unfavorably. I have a lot to be grateful for, and I'm doing great. And you know, once I get these tits, fucking better watch out. then I'm gonna be unstoppable. Anyways, that's silly. This was the thing I wanted to end on. This is good. We're going back to humor. Humorous. I don't know what I'm going to call this episode. Dang it. Crumb. I tried not to swear so much in this episode. How did I do? Did I not... Was I swearing too much? Or did I swear like a not too much amount? Maybe if I incorporate breathing, then maybe I'll sound more feminine. I'll stop doing that. I'm so hot. PodGising is exhausting, heat-making work. I'm drenched in my chair again. Ugh. This top makes my shoulders look so big. My butt is wet. I don't want my butt to be wet. Okay. Well, I do want my butt to be a little bit wet in certain situations. I think about this all the time. Do you check it out? Listen, if people behaved in public like they did in video games, in like non-combat or non-like fantastical situations, what would that be like? For example, gamers know. If you're a gamer, you know that you never walk in a game. If your character is... Why walk if your character is capable of sprinting? When you can sprint anywhere, you will. The faster you can get from point A to point B, that is the video game way. When you ride on horseback, you're always sprinting. Video gamers are impatient. And they're an impatient bunch. And they're used to leveling up and achieving objectives in a straightforward A to B concise way. And so, wouldn't it be funny if we all sprinted everywhere all the time? God, people would bump into each other so much. But if it was video game mechanics, then you'd just kind of like, well, you wouldn't even, it wouldn't even hurt. You would just kind of like stop in place and just smush faces for a couple seconds, and then both of you sort of redirect. And God, the subway, shopping malls would be chaos. Shopping malls would be goddamn chaos. Imagine everyone sprinting around a shopping mall. Like, have you ever played like what, I don't know what category, what they're called, what type of game, MMORPG, multi-man online, millennial man, multi-man online role-playing game? That would be it. Is it multi-man? Multi-metric? I don't know. Like World of Warcraft. Like, for example, perchance. When you're in a server with a whole bunch of people, everyone's sprinting everywhere. Well, can you sprint in? You know what I'm saying. Why walk when you can run? And so even old people, and they would be so annoyed trying to run places, and they'd be so annoyed because they would be like, what the hell? Oh, I got all the way up to level 85 for this. Because, you know, she's at level 85 because she's 85 years old. And she can't run no more. So she would be annoyed. But can you imagine everybody sprinting everywhere? Like on a subway platform? Just knocking into each other? But also just not really knocking, just smushing face. And then, like, you know, coming up, you just run up on somebody and your tummy hits them in the back. Just a bunch of people, like, stalling on each other, bumping into each other, and then glancing off, and then sprinting. Just imagine everybody sprinting. That's all. If video games were real life, everyone would sprint everywhere. And you know what else? People would, you would go into the hospital, and it wouldn't be a hospital, you see? Well, I guess there are hospitals in video games, but also, you could heal at the hospital, but also, if the hospital was too expensive, you could go to a hotel and just sleep, and you would heal in the morning. Like, let's say you got hit by a car, but luckily enough, you got hit by a car outside of a motel. Then you would crawl with your legs, totally. What's even the word? With your legs behind, just crawling on your pelvis and your hands all over the gravel with your legs just dangling behind you. And then you go, one room, please. And the guy at the window is like, who said that? They're like, down here. And you're like, what? Didn't you hear the car crash over there? How are you so zoned out? And he's like, I'm an NPC. And you're like, oh, that makes sense. But, and then you say, one room, please. And then you go into the room, and then your legs work again, and then you can come out and take care of the car situation the next morning. Or, actually, instead of that, you get in a car accident, and you get thrown from the car. And luckily enough, you can still use this hand, and you're like, and you reach down into your pants, and you pull out an apple. No, you pull out a whole rotisserie chicken. And you go, oh, and you just start, after this car accident, you eat a whole rotisserie chicken. And then you get up, and you're perfectly fine. You dust yourself off, and you go back to your car, and you're like, ah, damn it, my car. Good thing I have all these nuts and bolts that I salvaged. And then you just kind of throw them at the car. And the car is good as new. I love the idea. Oh my God. Can you imagine standing off to the side? Can you imagine you had just arrived at this new video game dimension? Let's just say you were magically transported to this hypothetical video game dimension that I just made up in my head. And you got there, and then you saw a giant car crash right in front of your face, and one guy got flung so far, and he got flung out of the car at your feet, and you're like, holy shit, holy fuck. And the guy looked up, he's like, ah, and you're like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. someone call 911. The guy's like, no, it's fine. And then he reaches into his pants and pulls out a whole rotisserie chicken and starts eating it in front of you. And you're like, what the heck is going on? So just imagine that. And there you go. That is if video games were in real life. And I so wish I could write down the ideas for the names of these PodGises so that I would be able to name them immediately after. But it's fine. I'll have to watch through this again. It'll be very time consuming and I'm dreading it. I have so much to do, but you don't need to know any of that. All you need to know is for the next 2 weeks. When you're watching this, I will be in Winnipeg. I will be in Winnipeg for the Winnipeg Comedy Festival, which is, as of Just for Laughs' cancellation this year, Winnipeg is the biggest comedy festival in Canada. So, and it is the final one of the bunch of them that I haven't done. So, boom, crossed them all off my list. So I'm going to be doing Winnipeg. Wish me luck. I'm going to be taping a set for the Winnipeg Comedy Festival. And then I'm going to record another episode when I'm home. And then that'll be the week that I'm doing Halifax. So I'll have a Halifax story for you in 2 episodes. I'll have a Winnipeg story for the next and a Halifax story for the one after that. Isn't that cool? Avagis on the road, doing fun and having time. And maybe if I don't feel good, I'll eat a whole rotisserie chicken and I'll be right as rain. So I hope you couldn't hear. This has been nice. I'm your host, Alval, with my co-host, Rumblin' Tummy. Because boy, oh boy, she been rumbling. Osama been rumbling. The whole episode. Osama been rumbling. So I'm going to go eat and edit this later. Got a big day tomorrow. Need to pack. Need those jeans to dry. Oh, that'll be the name of the episode. Sick. We got it. Wow. We came full circle. Thank you all very much for supporting. Thank you for listening. Sorry if some parts of this one got ranty. I feel like I need to apologize, even though I shouldn't. I shouldn't apologize. I take that apology back. You know what you get when you get me, and you got that, and you get all kinds of things sometimes, and you got some characters, and you got a really funny bit about video games, and a guy just eating a whole rotisserie chicken. Oh, I forgot the other part. Okay, one more thing. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Oh, okay, I'll talk about this at the next episode. I'll talk about it in the next. It's more video game ideas. If video games were real life, more ideas. More premises. I'll have more. Okay. Thank you all very much for everything. You are all bright, shining. You're all such sexy, bright, shining stars with your pants. Oh, I love the way you wear your pants. Yeah, your pants. Anyways, have a good time. This is me. This is my stop. Bye. Thanks.